A question from Ibu Patel, who is a Muslim, is the founder and executive director of the Interfaith Youth Corps. Welcome.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum, Senator Clinton.
Thank you.
My name is Ibu Patel. I'm an American Muslim, and I lead an organization called the Interfaith Youth Corps. And it's my privilege to watch a range of faith communities come together around the common value of compassion. Americans of all faiths and no faith at all genuinely believe in compassion and want to apply that in addressing global poverty and climate change. Can we do that without changing our standard of living?
Well, I believe there is so much we can do that we're not doing that would not change our standard of living as an imposition from the outside, but which would inspire us to take action that would impact how we live. And I don't think we would notice it demonstrably undermining our standard of living, but it would give us the opportunity to set an example and to be a model. When I think about the simple steps any one of us can take, turning off lights when one leaves a room, unplugging appliances, changing to compact fluorescent bulbs. My husband and I have done that. I don't think it's impacted our standard of living, but we feel like we're making a small contribution to limiting the amount of greenhouse gas emissions, being more mindful of our purchases. I hope that as president, I can model that and lead that effort so that people don't feel so threatened by the changes we're talking about when it comes to dealing with global warming. In preparation for the Pope's visit, I was reading that the Vatican is the first carbon neutral state in the world now. Well, that shows leadership, and I don't think it has impacted the work or the living. Ambassador Flynn, who is our ambassador to the Vatican, might know. But it was a great statement, and we can do more. And I think that with leadership, people will find ways to take those first steps, and then we can take even more. Now, there's so much that I have to do as president with a cap-and-trade system, with moving away from our dependence on foreign oil, but I'm going to look for ways that will cushion the costs on middle class and working and poor people, because I don't believe that they should have to bear more than what they are bearing right now as we make this transition, and I believe we could accomplish that.
Let's go to Sharon Harper, and she is the Executive Director of New York Faith and Justice. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Clinton, underdeveloped nations and regions that lack widespread access to education and basic resources like water, and they tend to be some of the most unstable and dangerous regions of the world, places like Pakistan, Somalia, Sudan. Our national security is at stake, but our military is stretched. As president, would you consider committing U.S. troops to a purely humanitarian mission under the leadership of a foreign flag?
Well, let me start by saying, number one, I believe strongly that we have to get back to leading on issues like health care and education and women's rights around the world. I've introduced legislation called the Education for All Act, and it's bipartisan. I introduced it first in 2004, and then we reintroduced it on a bipartisan basis in 2007. And the work that I would want to do to have the United States lead the world in putting the 77 million kids who aren't in school into school, having us lead when it comes to health care, particularly in malaria, TB, HIV/AIDS, but also women's health, which has been woefully neglected. I believe we should demonstrate our commitment to people who are poor, disenfranchised, disempowered before we talk about putting troops anywhere. The United States has to be seen again as a peacekeeper, and we have lost that standing in these last 7 years. Therefore, I want us to have a partnership, government to government, government with the private sector, government with our NGOs and our faith community, to show the best of what America has to offer. I really appreciated President Bush after the tsunami struck, asking his father and my husband to represent the United States and our concern for the people who'd been devastated. And yes, the military was there delivering supplies. that sent a loud message, and it was resonating throughout South Asia. In Indonesia, the largest Muslim country in the world, America's favorability rose dramatically because we were seen as caring and compassionate toward those with whom we had very little contact, or in fact some level of distrust previously. So I think we have to concentrate first and foremost on restoring our moral authority in the world and our standing in the world. And there are lots of ways that the United States military can be helpful and can show the better face of America. After the Pakistan earthquakes, we sent in military teams to help people. So I think that is my emphasis right now. Before we get to what we might do hypothetically, let's see what we will do realistically to rebuild America's moral authority and demonstrate our commitment to compassionate humanitarianism.
Senator, this is our last question for you to return to faith. Do you believe God wants you to be president?
Well, I could be glib and say we'll find out, but I don't presume anything about God. I believe, Abraham Lincoln was right in admonishing us not to act as though we knew God was on our side. In fact, our mission should be on God's side. And I have tried to take my beliefs, my faith, and put it to work my entire life. And it has been gratifying to do the little I've done to try to help other people, which is really what motivates me. That's why I get up in the morning and see whether there's an individual I can help or a problem I can solve. And I wouldn't presume to even imagine that God is going to tell me what I should do. I think that he has given me enough guidance, through how I have been raised and how I have been thankfully given access to the Bible over so many years, commentary and the like. So I just get up and try to do the best I can. And I think that I see through a glass darkly. I don't believe that any of us know it all and can, with any confidence, say that we are going to, be doing God's will unless, we are just out there doing our very best, hoping that we make a difference in people's lives. And that's what I am trying to do in this campaign. That's what I would try to do as president. And I couldn't be sitting here had it not been for the, gift of grace and faith that keeps me going and, frankly, challenges me. We haven't talked much about the challenge that faith gives us individually. I really worry when people become very complacent in their faith, when they do believe they have all the answers, because I just don't think it's humanly possible for any of us to know God's mind. I think we are just searching. We are on this journey together, and we need to approach it with a great deal of humility. And that's what I'm trying to do in this campaign, and we'll see what turns out. But whatever happens, I will get up the next day and try to continue on my journey to do what I can to try to fulfill what I believe to be God's expectations of us.
Senator Clinton, it was a very different kind of evening. You've been a good sport. Thank you. Thank you. And of course, that is only half of our conversation we are having here tonight. Senator Clinton, before you leave the stage, I'd like to bring out now your opponent in this race, Senator Barack Obama of Illinois.